Okay, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Then you are wrong, because then I can identify as a fox.
I am a 27-year-old transgender woman. I am a Wolfarian and a member of the furry fandom.
Check out this viral video where Piers Morgan is giving a reality check to this trans activist.
Okay, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
I'm serious. I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd status,
I think that's what.
About quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
physically.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
Actually, I think what you said ridicules trans people.
You cannot support trans rights at the same time when someone decides to come out and say I'm a woman, then she's going to be denying this person's identity. This is the double standard because it is totally acceptable to deny someone's identity, but all of the rest of the world have to affirm all the trans that come out of the woodwork. I have an interesting story. If you are to put 90 trans women on an island with 10 men, you come back 100 years later, what you will find are bones of 100 men. Equally, if you have 90 women on an island with 10 men, you come back 100 years later, you have a society on the island. That's the difference. One point I do not agree with Piers Morgan. It doesn't matter if you have a sex change. A man cannot be a woman. You can put the makeup that you want. You can cut some part of your body. It doesn't change the fact that a man will always be a man and a woman will always be a woman. Makeup does not make something. Costume don't make something. A man will never become a woman. In Masculine Academy channel, we are pushing men to become their best version and to succeed in relationship.
That is what a woman is.
I mean, I don't know why you're obsessed with defining it. Like, what is a man? Like, why do we need these arbitrary...
A man is a male, adult human. And that's it.
Right, okay, I don't know that we need
These are just biological facts, but they're just facts. They're not arguable points, are they?
But I think we have a right to self-identify, and you said
As
you
what?
want to...
As what? Well,
If
hang
you'd
on.
like to be a woman, you can identify as a woman. I don't know why there is such an issue around
We've
it.
literally just seen a male rapist use that scam to get himself put into a female prison where he could attack vulnerable women inside a female prison, when even his ex-wife said it was all a scam.
Which is a terrible, very distressing, isolated incident, and I think it's easy to take that and say that means that no one can identify as a woman, and
But
that's
it's not an isolated
fair.
incident, though.
But it's
These people that are supposed to be gender experts can't even define what a woman is. We end up in a situation where it's totally ludicrous, where a rapist, a male rapist, identified during the trial as a woman and end up being sent into women's prisons. His name is Adam Graham. So obviously, this ideology has a huge impact on the society and especially on women, because men now have access to women's bathroom. Men now can compete with women in sports, and men can go into women's prison. Their safety is on the line. I recently went into a comedy show. The show was amazing. However, the bathroom was all genders, and you could see how distressed and uncomfortable people are in this situation. Forcing these ideologies on people have a huge impact. And you have to notice as well that more than 40% of the people that do not identify with their gender in prison in the UK are there for sex crime. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's continue.
Is it limitless, this self-identity?
It's not totally limitless.
What's the
So
limit?
when you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if
because
anyone...
there's so many benefits.
Right, but if
to having
anyone,
a day.
according to you, can identify as a woman, anyone can, right?
I don't see a problem with
Just
someone
literally put their hand up and say, I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the world.
it's very easy.
It's very easy.
Very easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
What
this
does
is
doing
who
it involve?
whatever that person decides. But
Whatever this person decides, You can see the words that are being used. Everything is very blurry, is not clearly defined. Whatever this person decides, then she's a woman. The reality is, as soon as you start defining precisely these words, then you will see that this gender ideology is empty and it is shallow. Do you really believe that people that are rapists, that are sex offenders, will hesitate 1 minute to identify as a woman in order to access the female prisons? It's not knowing the cruelty of human behavior. People will do whatever they can in order to make their life easier, especially criminals. When you're saying it is not easy to be a trans person, if you just have to lift up your hand and say, I'm a woman, it's great, because people that are in the worst oppressive group, for example, a white straight male, can become the most marginalized person by just saying, I'm a woman. So there's a huge benefit in the society to go from the worst oppressor to the best possible victim. And this is why some people will decide to do it. If you're a man and you're interested to join a fantastic community of like-minded individuals that are ambitious, that are working on their purpose, feel free to join us right now. Use the link below to join our brotherhood. Let's continue.
I had zero respect for people who just wallop their hand up and go, suddenly, I'm a woman and I want all the rights that a woman has and I want to compete, say, in sport. I'm a 6'4" athlete, sprinter, swimmer, whatever, who's competed very mediocrely in male sport. And I want to come in and crush women in swimming pools and in sprinting events and break all their records, perhaps irrevocably, just by saying, I'm a woman. I think that is the absurdity you were talking about. My response was to say, well, if it's limitless, why can't I then say whatever I want to say? And you say immediately, as I knew you would, well, that's ridiculous.
It is fascinating to notice that most of the people that are pushing this ideology are women, feminists. It's interesting because they are self-deleting the definition of womanhood that original feminists have fought so many years to recognize the place of the woman in the world. So it's interesting that these women are pushing to have men entering their spaces. And they are the same people that just claim they just want to live their life without bothering other people. However, they are the same people that are forcing other people to use different words. If today you do not use the word cis woman, cis men to talk about women and men, you can be called a bigot. If today you're not using the right pronouns when you see a man with a beard in the female bathroom and you call him he instead of she, then you can be called a bigot. People that apparently just want to live their life are going around and changing all the rules and making it unfair for women to compete in sports as well. I do not care if adults decide to cut their members or add fake breasts, whatever they want to do. As soon as they're happy with the choice, then that's their choice. However, when you are pushing this ideology on children, when you are pushing this ideology on the rest of the population and forcing the rest of the people, especially women, to be at risk because of this is where I draw the line. This is never acceptable.
The standard for being transgender was being diagnosed with gender dysphoria, which is a legitimate condition. And now it's being, however way you feel. So if you feel on Tuesday you're a woman and on Thursday you're a pizza, that's perfectly valid. But to you that's ridiculous, and I want to know why that is ridiculous. We should be talking about actual women on International Women's Day. That's not crazy.
I mean, I agree, but your idea of an actual woman...
the chromosomes.
Is an adult female. It's not
The
difficult.
chromosomes are a pretty good indication.
I don't think you have to be biologically female to identify.
Then you are wrong, because then I can identify as a fox.
Very true. Well said. She actually joked, saying that she can identify as a fox, but check out this clip. This person actually identifies as an animal. Check it out.
I am a 27-year-old transgender woman. I am a Wolfarian and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you discover this inner wolfness?
Probably around age 10 or 11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen, and I'm somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous also. What context are you?
So I was a volunteer with a preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Are you able to communicate with the wolves?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of this wolf communication?
No. I'm not comfortable doing so.
Okay, all right.
This is where the absurdity of the gender ideology leads to. People identifying as anything, animals, objects. This gender ideology, there's a huge confusion between character, personality, and sex. It's not because you are a feminine man that you're not a man. It's not because you are a masculine woman that you're not a woman. Let's continue.
Well, let me ask you this, Angelica. How many genders are there?
2.
There are 2 genders. Wow, so you don't believe in transgenders at all?
Well, I think there.
Oh, hang on. Whoa. There are 2 genders?
Well, it's taught in.
Well, you say, well, you've literally just launched this huge defense of transgenderism. Now you've eradicated it.
I think
If there are 2 genders, you mean male and female, right?
there's gender fluidity. I will.
Fluid between what?
Between what?
Between different identities, and we can choose one.
You see how difficult this is, though?
But it is difficult. But I think making.
But it's not difficult until you make it difficult.
Well said, Piers. It is not difficult until you make it difficult. And you will see how uncomfortable she was. She couldn't even defend any of this argument. Gender fluidity between which gender if there are 2 genders. And she didn't want to say the 2 genders, but everyone knows it is male and female. This is what the genders are. It's not because you're more nurturing someday that you're a woman. It's not because you're more physically present that you're a man. Let's continue.
He has done teaching videos to 11 and 12-year-olds where they say there are 100 genders. One of them was astrogender, which is an affinity with the stars and the galaxy. My response to that on the last show I did was to say, well, in that case, I identify as a 2-spirit penguin. I was then told I was being ridiculous, but I made the same point. The ridiculousness is the BBC teaching kids there are 100 genders. There aren't. It is absurd.
Most of these activists will claim that transgenderism does not depend on social convention. It's just a way that they feel. However, most of these trans activists, the mothers, most of their kids are not straight. Their kids are often trans, gay, bisexual, all type of different combinations. If there was no link with the social environment, then how come all of the mothers that are trans activists end up with trans kids? The probability to have in the same family a gay person and a trans person is extremely slim.
When this happens at a young age, when you start trying to convince kids that they don't know what gender they are, or they're born in the wrong body at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, that's child abuse. All right? Gender affirming care wherein you only tell somebody they can be whatever they want to be regardless of their biology at a young age, that is child abuse. It's happening in the UK, it's happening in the US, and this is making room for groomers to groom young people, to confuse the heck out of them, make them not know what they are so they can take advantage and exploit them. Now, I want to be very clear here. This is not the mainstream LGBTQ movement. There are a lot of conservatives that even support that movement. This is a radical agenda made by groomers, and they don't want you to call them groomers, which is a perfect example of why they are groomers.
I wasn't a big fan of Tomi Lahren, especially when she released a couple of years ago a video criticizing all the men. But what she's saying right there makes total sense. Do not involve kids in this type of ideology. That's child abuse. In particular, the people that are pushing these ideas on young kids are groomers, because they like to talk to kids very young about sexuality, about sexual orientation, things that kids should not be aware at this age. Let's continue.
in shelters and like that, and they can be there just by identifying as a woman and then identifying as a tree the next day.
Right, so
Generally
Angelica, do you understand that part of the argument?
I understand that kind of the argument, but I mean, like Tommy said, I don't think this is confusing for children. I think it's giving you freedom of expression and freedom of choice.
How many girls did you know? Like my wife was a bit of a tomboy when she was young, right? How many kids do you know, young girls in particular, who are tomboys? But if the wrong person gets hold of them and persuades them, actually, what you should start doing is mutilating your body and have a full attempt to become a boy, that's not what most tomboys end up wanting. They end up actually going through puberty, getting older, and then that's it. They become women. Right? But if you get hold of these impressionable young minds too early, when they're just clowning around being tomboys, that's the danger to me.
I don't think the messaging is as extreme as you think it is. The language that you mentioned at the start of the show, I don't think you hear that language used that often in like everyday speech.
Which language?
And I think what you were saying.
Oh no, these are on NHS websites. No, this is where you're wrong. This is actually NHS websites in many cases. They genuinely call women chest feeders, birthing partners. They dare not say anything gender specific to women in case some trans people don't like it. To which I say, where are the rights of women to be called what they want to be called? Why does all language have to be degendered for a tiny minority of people?
It's always a tiny minority of people that are pushing these ideas on the vast majority, and they do not care whatsoever about actual women, biological women. And this is why they are making all of these changes. And there's no pushback, because normally the people that are supposed to push back for women are feminists. These feminists are so much indoctrinated into the gender ideology that they are the one pushing to have trans women into women's bathroom, into women's prison and women's sport. So who is going to fight for women? The few people that dare to talk against this ideology, for example, J.K. Rowling. She get hatred, she get attacks every day and be treated as a tough when she's just a person that genuinely care about women.
So anyway, I think scrap International Women's Day until we can all agree what a woman is.
No, I'm sorry. I think there's so many benefits to having International Women's Day. It'd be a real shame to do that.
Well, if you had your way, everyone would celebrate it by identifying as a woman, even if they weren't.
Oh, being a woman.
Happy International Women's Day. I am a woman. It's a farce.
A great episode, Piers Morgan.
GPT,
which stands for Generative Pre-Trained Transformer.
a robot you can talk to.
that you can log on to and have a conversation with.
As a man, if you want to become your best version, you better start making money. If you're interested in making a lot of money, I suggest that you click on the link below to get the free ebook to become successful using the AI, including ChatGPT. Check it out. If you like this type of reaction video, I suggest you to watch this video or this video.